Hi, my name is Kelly Sigrah. For my book, I read Fight Right by Julie Schwartz-Gottman and John Gottman, which we have read a lot of their stuff throughout this class. But I chose this book, as I said in my first video, because of the point that I'm at in my romantic relationship, as they refer to regularly, of 20 years. And we have 3 teenagers and a lot of life changes about to happen. So why not focus on how to deal with conflict, as some may arise sooner rather than later. And we're both really intentional partners and have both been going through therapy individually to benefit each other as well as ourselves. So the main kind of things I want to address that I'm taking away from reading this book, yes, it was really helpful for my marriage and my partnership, and we got a lot of new information and ideas and strategies, and it helped me understand a lot about conflicts that happen within our marriage. But it really, what I'm going to talk about the most is how I feel like it's going to carry over into other aspects of my life when conflicts arise in any situation with different populations of people. The main things the book addresses that I'm just going to gloss over really quickly. They go a lot into why conflicts happen, why they use the term fight, obviously the title Fight Right. So I'm going to say fight, but it doesn't necessarily mean a negative like fight, but shifting that mindset of that a conflict doesn't have to be a negative thing. They talk about why couples fight, why people have the fighting styles they do. They address the 3 main fighting styles that people have and how those interact with each other and how that can impact conflict. It talks a lot about focusing on the conflict versus the person. It addresses flooding and how that can impact fights. And also that often the reason a couple is fighting, it comes down to 5 different types of reasons for fighting, and that most of the fights are about things below the surface, not what you first see the conflict as when you look at it. And then the book also talks a lot about learning that fighting is not a competition to be won, it's an experience to have to learn. And so the biggest concepts that I'm taking away from reading this book in terms of from an organizational leadership perspective, with the idea of applying these into my career or other future scenarios, is being aware of those 3 different styles of fighting, of addressing conflict, of how people act and respond when they're in a situation that feels like a fight or a conflict, which are volatile, avoidant, and validating. And so as I encounter conflicts in the future, whether it's a conflict with myself or mediating or overseeing conflicts within my department, being aware of those 3 different styles, that the way a person quote unquote fights or deals with conflict is going to look different, and that's okay. And being aware of those 3 styles and how they can come off and how interactions can occur within the different types of styles. So that was really helpful for me. One of the overall concepts of the book that really hit home with me is that the focus should be on the conflict itself. It shouldn't be about the person and taking it personally. It should be looking at the conflict not as a fight, not as a negative, but as a learning opportunity, as a way to grow together with the person you have the conflict with. And those differences that are causing the conflict are actually what make you stronger together. And it's an opportunity for positive learning. When flooding happens, recognizing that, whether I'm recognizing it in someone else, recognizing it in myself, recognizing it in a conflict between other people that I might be mediating, so I can help people step back, take a break, recognizing that in myself, to then come back within a 24-hour period to then manage it respectfully and calmly. And then the last thing I want to address is that it's not a competition, that a conflict does not mean someone's going to be a winner or a loser. It means that you're going to learn together, work together if you use the strategies correctly and have empathy and listening ear. And that often, even though it feels really personal, because like I said, those surface level fights, it might just be, oh, this person never shows up on time, but below the surface, it turns out a parent growing up was never on time for anything. And that felt, that it wasn't a safe place for you to, be, that kind of thing. But in a professional setting, it's not always going to get that deep, but just having that empathy that could be a bigger situation. So I really enjoyed this book and I highly recommend it. Thank you.